Hi, I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Meet RX Success Story podcast. Today, we have Tracy with us, and she's going to be sharing her experience with a meat-based diet. Welcome, Tracy.
Hi,
I hope you're doing well.
hanging in there. Looking forward to sharing with you today.
Awesome. Well, let's get with it. Give us a little bit of your background. Like, what was going on in your life prior to starting a meat-based diet? Were you having any health issues, any kind of concerns you had?
So, just for reference, I'm 47 years old, and I started having noticeable digestive problems when I was probably about 20 or 21. And at that point, it was like a lot of IBS, a lot of constipation. And at that point, I was pretty much doing just like a normal healthy diet, lots of whole grains and relatively low fat, tofu, soy, lots of stuff like that. Um, at the time, so that was since I was like 20 years old. At the time that I was introduced to a carnivore-based diet was in about 2018. I started taking ancestral supplements, and I was connecting with Brian from the company, and he introduced me to Kevin Stock, and I started just doing more research, and I got a template from Kevin Stock, on how to incorporate a meat-based diet. And I thought it was ridiculous because I've always worked in nutrition specifically for people with digestive problems. I actually had a cleansing business back in San Diego. And so it's always been about, kind of like a paleo ketogenic style, but definitely eat your vegetables and definitely eat your berries and do your smoothies and have your coconut oil and all that kind of stuff. And it just wasn't working for me. And I found myself on a path where I was doing lots of cleanses, lots of hydrotherapy. I needed to take lots of supplements just to calm my gut down and to keep myself regular. It became a problem where it was a daily thing. And I've always lived a healthy lifestyle. I've always been into exercise. I'm a runner. I do all that stuff, all that jazz, everything that you would think, lots of water. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And I felt like my gut had just shut down. So I thought I would try a week of just doing meat. So I loaded up on chuck roast, and I ate nothing but chuck roast for a week. And although it didn't fix the problem, I had no bloating. I had no pain. But then I moved to Arizona and life picked up, and I ended up going back to keto and paleo. And then I tried it again, and it just, again, I did it for a month, and it wasn't, I just wasn't getting those immediate results that everybody else claimed to be having. So for the past year now, and through COVID, I've just been doing mostly like keto and paleo. And about a month and a half ago, I was like, I'm done. I've got rashes. My gut is worse than ever. I'm so sick of spending money on useless supplements. I'm going all in. I'm going to give this as much time as it needs. I've had issues since I was a kid. I can't live like this anymore. And so I have been doing meat-based for about 5 or 6 weeks now. And although I'm far from where I want to be, I am starting to see little bits of shifts. It's unfolding.
That's awesome. Okay, so when you started back again, how did you implement the diet? What did you include, and what was different from the times you've done this before, if anything? And did you have any transitional issues this time?
So each time that I've experimented with it, I've always leaned heavily on beef. So I started doing like ribeyes again, chuck roast, ground beef, And I have a great butcher in town. I get my own suet from them, and I render my own tallow. So I use that for extra for when I'm having leaner cuts of meat. I do duck eggs, some chicken eggs. I am having about 2 to 3 ounces of liver, if not every day, every other day. Um, and I haven't been eating any fish or chicken really. It's been mostly just like hamburgers, ribeyes, and chuck roasts with a little added fat if needed. Um, and that's how I've done it in the past. But I have this time kind of played around a little bit with some bacon. And I think I definitely have some kind of like a histamine issue because I just get like a little rashy around here, which is really weird. It's just like I get like these little like pustules around the bridge of my nose, and they go away in a day or two. I can't have lamb. I discovered that. I made a leg of lamb, and my entire torso just completely and totally blew up. I'm still healing from that, and that was 2 weeks ago. Itchy, rashy. So I think that beef is the safest for me, and it's the tastiest too. So I am eating twice a day, having like my ground beef and my liver, maybe some eggs in the morning, and usually like a ribeye or some other steak kind of meat for dinner. Um, and I do still have a little bit of coffee, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, I took on a life of minimalism, and I find that not experimenting with all the other proteins right now is best for me because it's easier on my mind, and I feel like it's easier on my body too. It's not too confused.
I can understand that completely. Okay, you mentioned that you are not where you want to be yet, but you're already noticing a shift of improvement. Go over what you're noticing, even though you may not consider it to be a big thing. Kind of talk about that.
Um, so like I said, I had been sick since I was a kid. I had a history of terrible asthma. And so being on inhalers and steroids and antibiotics my whole life destroyed my gut. So what I do notice, even though my system is far from regular, is that most days it's a little bit calmer. I'm definitely sleeping. I'm sleeping through the night. I used to have to take CBD oil. I used to have to take tons of stuff just to fall asleep, not to mention stay asleep. I am actually sleeping through the night where like I wake up and I see the daylight, and that's just like shocking to me. So I'm sleeping better. Um, I'm noticing that like my skin is just overall um, clearer. I had a history of perioral dermatitis where I would get rashes here, and eczema, dry skin. I don't have, my skin's not dry anymore. It's, if I do get a breakout, it seems like it just like it comes and then it's gone. Um, so that's beneficial. And I definitely notice that, you know, like when you don't feel well, you're anxious all the time, and you're constantly like thinking like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And even though I'm not where I want to be, I have this sense of safety right now, knowing that this is where I need to be. Um, so the sleep thing is huge. Um, I have more sustained energy. It's not great, but I did start also taking, I am taking some iodine, and because I have Hashimoto's. My thyroid medication always made me super, super anxious. So I feel like the iodine, I've heard some people have really helped their Hashimoto's through a meat-based diet and taking iodine. And so I do feel a little bit more energized with the iodine supplement. But just, I think sharper in my brain, like I'm able to focus more. Um, and I think just an overall sense of more peace. So like this time, I think like what's like the biggest thing that's different for me this time versus the times that I've tried in the past is my willingness to go all the way through with it. Like before I was like, but I had major surgery last year. I had toxic breast implants taken out, and the antibiotics that they put me on, that really was the trigger for like I felt worse after the surgery. It completely annihilated any gut function that I had left. And so this past year has been a constant micromanage of everything with my health. And I just kind of said, I'm done. Like I can't keep trying this diet and trying that diet and doing what this doctor says and that doctor says. It's like, it's my health, so I have to put it into my own hands. And so I think the biggest difference is the follow through. I'm committed to it, even if I'm having a bad day.
I love the way you say that you feel at peace with it. Like you finally figured out that this is where you need to be. I love that you said that. I think that is so important. So kudos to you. And I'm looking forward to hearing more improvements. And Tracy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And you have a wonderful day.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
Bye, Tracy.
Bye.